it should not stop at that. What is we are experiencing within the Lake Chad region should also be, allowed to be taken to other parts of the country, the southwest, the north central. We witnessed last week whereby there was an airstrike by the Nigerian Air Force around Niger State. I think that is also that also needs to be applauded. So if all this is done, I think we will have an improved security landscape in Nigeria.
So, some public officials have suggested citizens should defend themselves. You know, what are the implications of such statement?
Under the Nigerian law, you have right to self-defense.
To carry arms?
No, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Self-defense in the sense that you will not fold your hands and allow somebody to come and attack you. So you need to defend yourself. Now to the issue of carrying arms. There are procedures to that. If you made a procedures, the Nigerian police is the one responsible for procuring arms and giving arms to citizens that have met the criteria.
Yeah.
You can apply. You apply through your government. In the northeastern Nigeria, there's the civilian JTF that are supporting the ongoing counter-terrorism effort. Most of them are carrying arms, but they have been vetted by the necessary government agency, having certified them that okay, they don't have any skeleton in their cupboard, and they were trained. They went through some form of psychological evaluation and some form of training. So through their government. So that's why I said there are procedures to carrying arms. If let's say in a community they set up a community watch group or a vigilante group, and the local government chairman feels, let us write to the government. By the time you write to the government, the Nigerian police, the DSS, and other security agencies, they will come and vet this community watch group to make sure that the people that are personnel of such watch group, they are not criminals. So when they go through this vetting process and the community feels that they should bear arms, they will be trained. When they are trained, they will carry out some psychological evaluation for them. When they meet all these criteria, you go to most of the localities, you see vigilantes will carry weapons. So these are the laid down procedures in accordance with the Nigerian law before you can carry arms. Not that you just go through the illegal means to go and start procuring arms. That is an offense under the Nigerian law. So we have right to self-defense, but if you must carry arms, go through the laid down procedure. Reach out to the necessary security institution. When you apply, when you meet the necessary requirements, you'll be allowed to carry arms.
So, what are your thoughts realistically when it comes to state police, and do you think it will improve security across Nigeria?
The issue of state police, by my experience, I want to say that I think is something we should bring on board. I made mention of the gaps we have within the security landscape of Nigeria. And one of the gaps that I've not mentioned is our porous border. Why is our border? Why is it porous? Because the military have shifted from their traditional role of securing our borders, doing police role. Because there's now transnational crime across our border, arms trafficking and the rest. So the military ordinarily is not expected to go and stay too long performing internal security duties. They are to be called upon to come and contain a situation. Upon stabilization of the situation, the military will draw back to its traditional roles. So when state police is allowed to operate, we can witness a gradual withdrawal of the military. State police will take charge of all these deployment of the military. After a while, the military can now withdraw, then go back to go and face the border. This will go a long way towards reducing the level of porosity of our border in Nigeria. So, and also, The context of state police has to do with community policing. It is expected that if allowed to operate, the personnel will be recruited from the community. If the personnel are recruited from the community, they understand the terrain better, they understand the local peculiarity in terms of insecurity within the community.
Mm-hmm.
Information and intelligence gathering will be galvanized. They know who is who within the neighborhood. So, for me, I feel state police, as against the fears of most people, most Nigerians, that it will serve as a tool of intimidation and harassment by the state governors and the local government chairman.
And shouldn't that be a valid concern?
It is a very, very valid concern.
Okay.
However, when we have all the necessary constitutional safeguards on ground, all the institutional mechanism, I think it will deter and allay the fears of those that are thinking that it will be serve as a tool of for harassment and intimidation in the hands of the state governors. And what are these institutional safeguards? It will not be allowed to be exclusively under the state governors. It should be under the concurrent legislative list, whereby the federal government can provide an oversight on the state government. But the moment it's allowed to be just under the state governor, I think there's tendency for abuse. But if it's under concurrent legislative list, because currently, as we speak in Nigeria, the issue of policing is under the exclusive list, which translates that it's only the federal government that can legislate on the issue of policing. So for state police to work, that section needs to be amended for it to be under concurrent list. So with that, the federal government can perform a broad oversight. And to further allay the fears of most Nigerians, state policing is not something that we should rush into. While it has a lot of advantages towards improving our security landscape in Nigeria, it should not be rushed into. It should be like a pilot program. States that have the financial strength to start state police, for instance, the likes of River State. If River State and other states that have the financial muscle to start state police, they use that pilot program. The federal government monitor for a period of 3-6 months. I think that template can now be molded in other states of the federation. Because while we talk about state police, we should look at the funding aspect. You recruit personnel, they'll buy uniform, buy boots, combat enablers, vehicles, armored vehicles, motorcycles. You understand what I'm saying? So all this should also be factored in. We should not be happy to be mentioning state police. Funding is an integral part of putting up any security framework. Funding is very, very essential. Feeding, paying their salaries, allowances, and other remuneration is also a critical factor. So if this is done with the support from the federal government in terms of funding, because I don't think there's any state in Nigeria that can alone fund state police. You need support of the federal government. So if this joint effort is put in place, and like I said, starting with a pilot program in states that have some considerable level of financial muscle, financial strength, so that the federal government can oversee for a period of time, 3-6 months, then that can be modeled in other states. But by and large, the issue of state police, if properly and meticulously, entrenched within the Nigerian security framework, it has a great tendency for fostering our security framework.
All right. So, Captain, can Nigeria still really guarantee the safety of lives and property under the current security structure, in all honesty?
Okay, in all honesty, we are currently experiencing insecurity issues bordering on terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, and the rest. So to answer your question, let me take you back to memory lane. In Indonesia, Indonesia experienced decades of violent extremism and insurgency. But as we speak today, if you are mentioning one of the Asian tigers, you will mention Indonesia. Indonesia is now a force to reckon with in the world, especially from the Asia part of the world. So Indonesia was able to put in place measures towards curbing violent extremism. That was why I was saying that there's need to bring our religious leaders on board arrest any pastor, arrest any imam that is preaching hatred. Indonesia adopted that model, and it worked for them.
Okay.
Indonesia was also was able to strengthen information and intelligence gathering by having a robust community engagement. Today, as we speak, Indonesia is a force to reckon with. And not only that, Sri Lanka experienced decades. Also, we are like experiencing it for about 2 decades and more, and a few years. Sri Lanka had experienced decades of insurgency and terrorism. But today, 2026, Sri Lanka is living peacefully. And what are the measures put in place? Areas whereby the presence of government is lacking, Sri Lanka makes sure that the presence of government is felt everywhere within the nose and crying of Sri Lanka. And Colombia as a country, at some point, there were places, there were communities that the government could not access in Colombia because rebel groups, drug cartels have occupied all these communities.
Yeah.
But the government was able to inviting these rebel groups that let us have a discussion. Those that embraced the discussion, they were granted amnesty. Those that did not embrace this, the free will that the government was giving to them, they were crushed. So we should not at every point in time want to romance criminals, people that don't want peace. You crush them because the moment you are like inviting them too much, you are giving them you are emboldening them, to continue to perpetrate criminality. Once you invite them, give them a time frame. Let us have a discussion. So I encourage that aspect of non-kinetic approach to fostering security. Invite the terror groups. What do you want? What are the problems? If they embrace such invitation, let's see how both parties can come together and work together. Whatever their grievances are, they should make it known to the government. So the moment they are not embracing such, I strongly believe the government should go and crush them. We are not in an era whereby a few Nigerians will not allow the larger society to enjoy peace and carry out their normal activities without issues. When you go to communities, farmers cannot go to farms anymore. They cannot go to farms because these criminal groups have formed the habit of going to go and maim and kill innocent Nigerians that are sustaining their life through farming. Some at some point they will even establish illegal taxes, collecting taxes from them. You kill community, you decimate people. So the government, like I said, can always invite people for peace talk. Or if it's not working, I think they should go and be crushed. All these models I've mentioned, they worked out in Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and of course Colombia. So if the lesson Nigeria can take from all this is that if we've seen countries that have experienced what we are actually experiencing, what have they done? We can learn from them. Improve government presence, robust community engagement. The school that students were kidnapped in Oyo State, Ogbomoso area of Oyo State, when you look at the school premises, it is surrounded and interspersed with bushes, thick bush. I think this takes us back to what I said earlier, that security is not only the function of the government. I expect the school authority before now, 500 meters away from the perimeter fence of the school, it should be clear so that you can see clearly what is coming.
Would that help? Would that have helped
that
situation?
What I'm saying is that will be a contributory factor. So another thing to now keep that to work effectively, the Safe School initiative by the federal government, for me, is still not working. We're made to understand that it's the mandate of the civil defense. Is it that the civil defense have not been properly equipped to carry out this mandate? If the answer is no, then they should be equipped. Because we keep, towards the tail end of last year that we witnessed the adoption of school children in KB and Niger State, there were a lot of rhetorics that was made that the Safe School Initiative would be galvanized. So if the Safe School Initiative is galvanized, what is happening? That's why we're still experiencing in 2026 that they are abducting and kidnapping teachers and students. That means there's need to be done in terms of this Safe School Initiative, and that is why I made mention of the fact that state police, we need state police. State police and community police, they are more or less like interwoven. There's a thin line between them. because the personnel of the state police will be recruited from the local communities. So with that, the era of blame game, whereby the local government chairman, the state governor will say, no, it's the federal government that have power when it comes to security issues.
Yeah.
That will have been decentralized. So you will not be giving excuses that it's only the federal government that have something to say when it comes to security. You will decentralize it from bottom up. So if the bottom to top approach is embraced, I think it will actually foster our security landscape in Nigeria. Because at that point in time, all communities, they will have in all the nooks and crannies of their environs, people that are being paid in the name of state police to safeguard security of lives and properties.
All right.
So for me, I believe that we can actually, get out of this mess that we find ourselves as a country. Given the examples of countries that have experienced something even worse than this, and they were able to overcome it.
With government's willingness intentionally, right?
Yes, the political will of the government is something that is very, very imperative.
Okay.
Without the political will, all these things that I've mentioned, they are not practicable, they are not implementable. So the government must provide the necessary political will. But like I said, you need to give the security agents the right to decimate criminals, the right to crush them, the right to invite them for peace talk, and if they are not embracing such, let them go and be decimated. And the government on its part should also improve governance and having boots on ground. There are two factors that, if properly entrenched, they will improve the security landscape of Nigeria.
I have been speaking with my guest today, Dr. Captain Luqman Gidado, a highly respected military veteran and accomplished leader in security strategy and development. Thank you so much for your time. It's always insightful when you come into our studios. Thank you.
It's always my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
And to everyone else, thank you for being a part of the Civic Forum on Whispers 87.7 FM. We'll be back tomorrow with another topical conversation at 9 a.m. My name is Uche Nogo. Thank you for listening and stay on Whispers 87.7 FM. Good morning.